Let's do a quick intro because you've got places to be, people to see, friends to meet.
Yeah, I have an adventure.
That's our intro. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Well, I don't know what we're going to talk about today. Probably Rebel Moon.
Did you
Maybe what?
did you finish it?
Yeah,
Nice.
I struggled through it. I'll say no spoilers for how I feel about that movie. Maybe I struggled through it because I couldn't stop crying because it was so emotionally driven.
Yeah, you
But
can't see him right now, but his eyes are like bloodshot red from the
yeah, I
from the
watched
crying.
this 2 nights ago. Have not stopped crying.
Wow.
Yeah, but I also look angry and constipated. So we'll get into that.
You're
Do
just
you have
angry
a,
that you are constipated.
yeah, it sucks, man. Do you have any Rhystopher you pages today?
See, I did again, and then I forgot them.
That's okay. Should we talk about the Watcher thing? An update?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Because our sister, I was telling her about like what we talked about,
Hmm.
and she was like, "You should cut that out of the episode." And I'm like, "I already uploaded it." Because she was like, I was too lenient," which
Yeah,
is
I
fair.
hadn't watched the video and I don't fault them anyway, so I didn't really have any strong opinions outside of
Yeah.
it was stupid.
See, I do like two of those guys a lot, the BuzzFeed Unsolved ones, Ryan and Shane.
Yeah.
But I had not seen that video. And then once I did, I texted Rhys and I was like, I might make a video about this because it's actually quite upsetting. So if anyone has stopped listening because of how lenient I was for them last week, then you're not hearing this right now. But that's okay. We don't want you anyway. By which I mean we need you.
Yeah, come
We
back.
don't want you, we need you. If
I'll
you
give
have a
you
friend,
$2.
Rhys will eat a piece of dry dog poop off the ground.
I
Reference to
asked
last week.
Yeah, I asked two people, what they would do, and both of them said 10,000
So they're in agreement with me.
with you, because I
And I
said like a
asked,
thousand.
yeah, I asked the same sister we just mentioned about the Watcher thing, but she said 1 million. And I was like, I feel like I could get you to do it for less.
Probably. A million's a lot to ask for.
But also, like, she has, maybe I shouldn't say this because it's revealing a detail about her life, but she's got like student loans to pay off. If
Hmm.
I just paid off those, I bet she'd do it.
Well, yeah, but you can't highball them. Like, of course, if you were like, if you, I'll give you a million to do this, I'll be like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, you're
But
not
we
going to
want
be
like
like,
the
I'll do
bare
it for
minimum. Yeah.
$4.
So it's that
Yeah.
like you start low and you increase, and at what point are you like, yeah, okay, I'll do it.
Right. So you didn't watch Rebel Moon?
No.
Did you come close to watching Rebel Moon?
No, I watched the first Fear Street and Ready or Not
How was Ready or Not? I got a notification from Q for some reason.
that I watched
They're,
it.
yeah, they were like, Reese, watch this. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Tell me later.
It was good. It was very
I've been
fun
wanting to watch
movie.
that for a
Wasn't
while. I
scary at
like
all,
that.
but
I like that
it's
movie, or I
fun.
like the idea of that movie.
Yeah,
So I have a few
very funny.
sources
Okay.
for Rebel Moon. Apparently, it had a $166 million budget for two parts, making it Netflix's priciest 2023 movie. It's Snyder's most costly non-DCEU project and features a remarkable ensemble cast.
That was it.
Yeah, it's actually got a really great cast.
Who's in this movie?
Sophia Boutella from you'll know her from Kingsman. She's the person with knives or swords for legs.
Oh, okay.
She's in it. She's also the mummy in Tom Cruise's Mummy. It's got Jaimon Hansu, who's in everything, and he's a great actor in everything he's
Oh,
in.
yeah. Jenna
He's in
Malone looks familiar.
Jenna Malone was
Oh, she's
in
in Hunger
BVS.
Games.
Oh yeah, she's
Oh,
that lady, and she's the one who like takes her clothes off in the elevator next
yeah. And
to Katniss or something.
Katniss and the Haymitch.
Yeah, but Hamish loved that.
Peeta might have been there. I don't remember.
Peter would hate that. He's too loyal.
Yeah.
It's got Ray Fisher, who is Cyborg in the Justice League movie, both all of
Okay.
them, and BVS.
And
It's got a.
Who's Zach Palmisano?
It might be the guy who wrote a bird
All
in the
right, because
first Rebel
everyone here
Moon.
is like they have headshots, and then his picture is him like his full body, just him like posing because he's ripped as hell.
I think it's the guy who wrote a bird then, because he
Patron,
did.
patron. I don't know
I,
why I said patron.
the thing about Rebel Moon is no one in that movie. Everyone's fine. Like no one's bad at acting, but no one is memorable. I don't know the names of anyone. I know the main lady's name is Cora, but she's also the scar giver. The enemy's name is, I think, Constable Noble or Admiral Noble or
Yeah, there's
something.
Atticus Noble,
Atticus Noble.
but
I don't
maybe
know
he
anyone else's name. The lady who fought a spider, I don't know her name. She doesn't have arms because she
is
cut them off herself.
it Sam?
I doubt it. Hold on, let me go on IMDb. I already
Is
have
it
it pulled up.
is it Devra? Is it Nemesis?
It's Nemesis, I think. I just looked up
Nemesis.
Deborah. What am I doing? Rebel Moon. There's a Deborah in this movie.
Which
That's
one of them
weird.
is Rebel Moon?
I guess Sophia Boutella. Yeah, Nemesis is the lady who fought a spider. Blood Axe is Ray Fisher. Oh yeah, there's a robot named Jimmy, played by Anthony Hopkins somehow,
Jimmy, Rebel
or
Moon.
James. Yeah, he's a robot
Jimmy.
who is part of the evil empire. But then he realized that the evil empire is kind of bad, so he decided to live and grow, put like antlers on his head and run around in flowers for a while. Then he
Kind of
shows
nice
up at the
design.
end.
Looks cool.
Oh yeah, this movie looks pretty good, I guess. I mean, it's not
Yeah, I
very
mean
interesting,
that's
but
what you'd
like
expect.
it's a fucking so we talked about this a little bit. We're not doing I don't have any structure to this review. I
Okay.
guess I'm gonna tell you what happens and you're gonna react to it. I guess I can
Nice.
start with what happens in Rebel Moon Part One, A Child of Fire. So Sophia Boutella, Cora, is living on a farm planet and they make wheat. They grow wheat or grain or something. And
Hmm.
then the Empire shows up and it's like, hey, everybody, we need this grain. And they're like, oh, no problem. Like, we can, we've got this much to spare. And they're like, no, we're going to take it all, actually. And
Those
so
bitches.
I know they're assholes. So they kill an old man and they're like, okay, now this old man's dead. You're now in charge. I don't know who's in charge. Don't remember. Another thing about these two movies, so unmemorable. Any Rebel Moon apologists out there are going to be mad at me because I can't remember like details about this movie, even though I watched it 2 days ago.
The first
But
one?
no, the second one, I can't remember
Oh,
either.
okay.
The first one's more memorable. So basically, Cora turns out she used to be Empire, like the best one. She was really good at fighting in the Empire.
Ah, so she's Finn,
No, because Finn
but a
was kind
better
of.
Finn,
She's like if Finn was
competent.
the most skilled person in the universe.
Okay.
So she is that. She decides that it's probably not okay to have the Empire take all the grain. So she goes and she finds her friend Gunner. I didn't remember his name. I just looked on IMDb
Oh,
earlier. I wouldn't have remembered that. And actually, no, she says, I'm going to go and gather up. I'm going to go do a Seven Samurai, actually. And so Gunner is like, I'm not letting you go alone. And she's like, fuck it, whatever. I don't care. She probably has more of a hesitancy to letting him come.
hmm.
I don't know. Maybe he tricks her. Maybe he forces it. Maybe he
Maybe he
like
just stalks up behind her and like follows her for a while, and then she's finally like, stop that.
so they go to the Star Wars Cantina bar and they're all hanging out. Something there's so much like weird sexual things in these movies. What's his name? Zack Snyder has when he was on the Rogan podcast, apparently, he talked about how during that scene in Star Wars A New Hope, where an alien goes up to Luke and then starts talking to him, and then that guy's friend is like, he doesn't like you. And then Obi-Wan cuts off his arms.
Hmm.
Zack Snyder was like, yeah, man, like, what if that alien was trying to fuck Luke? And then Rogan, I don't know what he says. I didn't watch the interview because why would I?
He was probably
But
invested in that.
oh, he probably was like, yeah, man, like, that's like real. I'm on DMT right now, man. Let's go fucking karate chop a deer. And then,
It's DMT like a steroid.
no, DMT, maybe
That
it's
what
not
turns people
DMT.
purple.
No, that's just steroid. DMT is a drug that you take where it makes you, DMT, if I'm remembering correctly, is the chemical that is excreted by the brain when you dream, but I think you smoke it. I don't know for sure. But then you just have like a really vivid dream and you can like, apparently it only lasts 5 minutes, but it feels like it lasts a lifetime and you can explore universes and shit. I don't know.
Sounds
Not gonna,
horrible.
yeah, it sounds
Why would I want
terrifying,
something that lasts
honestly.
a lifetime?
Like I've seen that Rick and Morty episode where they play Roy. Seems
Yeah,
like very
extremely
distressing.
unpleasant. Yeah.
Anyway, so Zack Snyder's like, what if that guy was trying to fuck Luke? Like that's what I gathered from that scene. Anyway, so a bunch of that sort of thing happens in the Rebel Moon verse.
Hmm.
Then they meet Charlie Hunnam, I think, and
Okay. Who's Charlie Hunnam? Let me pull up the
he
casting.
was one of the options for Thor when we talked about during that episode where he,
Oh, the
yeah.
legend himself.
I like him a lot, but he just is Han Solo. So he's like, "What's up, guys? Like, why don't I take you around town? We can fly around, get people." So they get into his ship, they fly around. They offer to pay him or something. So it's just Han Solo.
Okay.
Then they go to I don't know if it's different planets or different parts of the same planet. Literally no idea. Can't remember. But they go to this farm and this guy is a slave. And then they're like, hey, can we have this guy? And they're like, no. They're like, can you free him? And he's like, I'll free him if he can tame this bird. It's like Buckbeak from Harry Potter. Remember Buckbeak?
Oh, yeah, I do remember Buckbeak. I'm a big Buckbeak fan.
Yeah, it's like a video game scene where they're like, "Oh, like this is my slave. You can have him if he can do this." Like it's like a side mission, and not even a
Yeah,
side mission, just like you know what I mean. So
your
this
side
guy,
quest. You just
yeah, this guy flies he
a tit for
tames a
tat.
bird. He flies a bird. Then they're like, "Well, we're gonna take him now," and so he's freed. He joins the cause. Then that bird stomps on the slave owner, which cool, I guess. They go find a lady
Well,
who
owning
is,
slaves is wrong.
yeah,
So good for you,
great scene.
bird.
They go and they find a lady who's doesn't have arms and she's got two lightsabers. Or she has robot arms. She's got two lightsabers. She's fighting a spider lady who's Jenna Malone. She wins. They get her. They find this guy, General whatever, Jaimon Hansu's character. I don't know how they get him, but they do. They go and they find the rebels, which is Ray Fisher playing, I think, Blood Axe, and they
Sick
get
ass
him
name.
they get him on board, they get his friend. Then it turns out that all along Charlie Hunnam, Han Solo, was actually a dick. So he like drugs them all, ties them up to these chairs. He calls the Empire. Constable Noble or whatever his name was shows up. Charlie Hunnam's like, "Hey, you want them? You can have them." They, put all these people who are tied up in these weird crab, like I don't know, things, kind of like a
Yeah, look
gallows
like crabs.
situation. I don't know if they're even crab related, but it's a pretty cool design. But then they
Double moon
make
crab.
then they make uh Hora's friend Gunner. They're like, "Hey, fuck you, Gunner. Like, here's a gun. This is a dark universe, so we're gonna make you kill all your new friends." So he goes up behind Cora and he like puts this it's like a killing mechanism and there's a hole in the back by your like spine, and then he put in like one of those things that you use to kill a cow. I don't know, like a nail gun, and then you like just
Oh,
like kill him. But
yeah.
apparently this thing is designed so the weapon that can kill these people in this method also frees them. So, in a moment of bravery, Gunner frees all of the people. Then they have a big fight.
That he just literally betrayed like 3 seconds ago.
No, no, no. Gunner's not Han Solo. Han Solo dies, I think.
Oh,
But they're making Gunner, who's just a farm boy. They're like, "Hey, you're gonna fucking kill these people." He's like, "Oh, I don't want to though." They're like, "Oh, we're gonna kill you and your friends and your family and your farm town." So he frees them. There's a big fight. Blood X dies. Cora fights Constable Noble. Cora kills Constable Noble. They're like,
Constantinople.
Constantinople. They're like, "Sick. We're done. We won." They go back to Rebel Moon for some reason, even though they think they won. And then Constable Noble gets picked up and they cure him. They heal him. He's not dead anymore.
Do they have that weird Kingsman juice that they can
Basic,
just?
kind of. It's like they put him in like a chrysalis or like a womb, and then they just heal him. It's very Darth Vader
Do you think
in the
it's
back to the tank.
healing him, or do you think it's creating a new version of him, like a little baby that then grows up really fast?
No, I think they heal him. I don't know though. But Zack
That's
Snyder
lame.
loves to kill someone at the end of one movie and then in the next movie bring them back in the first scene. He didn't do that in Justice League. Sorry, but
That was the middle of the
at
movie.
the end of the first movie, the guy dies and then there's a hint that he's not dead. In Rebel Moon Part 1, he's actually just not dead at all. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he was and they brought him back. And then the next movie starts. And it starts with this guy being healed again. And anyone who's like, "Oh, I want to watch these back to back," that doesn't like it just be weird. This guy has been dead in universe for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
And
and it's just
so
a big dramatic scene of him coming back to life.
yeah, like it's not, there's no narrative weight there. It doesn't work at all, in my opinion. So the Seven Samurai, the Rebel Moon crew, they go back to the planet of the grain and they think they've won. So they all hang out. They're talking to the new leader. They're like, "Yeah, don't worry. We killed that guy." And the Empire has a rule and regulation where if Constable or Admiral or whatever his title is,
Atticus Noble.
whatever his
Atticus might be
title.
his first name though.
Yeah, he's got a title. Let's say constable, because I've been doing it all the time. It's probably admiral. Doesn't
Admiral.
matter. But the Empire, they're like, "Yeah, the Empire has a policy where if the admiral dies, they have to go back to the home world, so we're good." No one's like, "Why would they have that policy? That's
Yeah.
crazy." So you can kill him mid-fight and they just leave? Doesn't matter.
It's
So
like the
they think,
hive mind thing.
actually, yeah. But so they think they've won. Immediately, this guy walks in who's I don't know what his deal is. He's not a spy, but I thought he was maybe a spy. I think he's just supposed to be helping the Empire, but he's not. So he comes in and he's like, "Actually, no, they're on their way." And Cora's like, "But that's impossible. I killed that man." And then they're like, "Apparently, well, death doesn't really stick when you have a womb." or a chrysalis. So they're actually coming. We've got 5 days. So everyone's like, well, fucking shit. Okay, we'll find a plan. So the plan is get all the grain, put it near the civilians because they're not going to blow up the grain. And then we're going to teach everyone how to fight. So like, that Archer, where Archer has a chub club, he teaches a bunch of chunky boys to to
Well, I don't
fight.
know. Let's
It's
see,
like that.
Archer.
It's like one of those. It's in Seven Samurai. I think it's in Magnificent Seven where they teach the townsfolk how to fight
Yeah, I've definitely
and
seen
do
this
and
kind of
do
thing before,
traps
but I don't
and
remember
shit.
from what.
So they do that. Turns out all the townsfolk are really, really good at fighting. The first person they're teaching how to shoot a gun just immediately blows the head off the dummy that they're like trying to shoot. So it's like, oh, well, you're just good at this. Great.
But they're the chosen one.
No, they're just some random person. Like the townsfolk are really good at fighting for no reason. It'd be actually interesting if like, they're not skilled, but they have heart. If they did it like they did in Magnificent Seven or any of the movies that you stole from, where they're
Yeah.
not the best in the world. Then there's a really fucking long scene of just wheat threshing. They're just cutting down wheat or grain or whatever. It's like it's way longer than it should be. I texted Rhys this. Jaimon Hansu's character, let's call him General Hansu. Let's just call him Jaimon Hansu. Whatever
Okay.
his whatever his character's name is. There's a scene where he takes a canteen and he like puts it in water and it's slow motion. And I counted. I took out my trusty timer, my stopwatch. It was like 8.25 seconds. This scene, which is too long.
Ah, that's pretty long.
Like it's not long in the grand scheme of things, but for a slow motion scene of someone filling up a water bottle, what
But I
is
think it's
this?
it's long regardless. That's like even half of that would be like maybe a little too long. So I'm
So they all get together, they get the grain, they train the townsfolk, then they have like a fireside dinner where everyone's sitting there and this fucking child is like, "Hey, Seven Samurai, like since we love you and we think you're pretty cool, we made you these gifts." And the gifts are just a tapestry. And they're like, "Jaimon Hansu, when we first saw you, we thought you were like a mountain. So this one has a mountain on it." Other person, you're just like a bird. I don't think it's the guy who wrote a bird.
I was gonna ask.
I don't think it is. But they're like, here's a bird one. They're like, oh, you're like the heart or you're like the sun rising. So here's a picture of a sun. Terrible gifts. They're all really happy, really long
Are they
scene.
well made tapestries?
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how they made it so quickly. They must be more
Okay.
talented than I think possible for anyone. It was like a day and they made 6 tapestries because they had 7 people, but then Blood Axe died. That's good. And then they have a scene where the whole group, the Seven Samurai, I texted you about this. They're just
Hmm.
sitting at a table, and then Jaimon Hansu goes, "Because you're gonna be fighting next to me tomorrow, and because I'm fighting next to you tomorrow, like I want to know your origin story. So I'll go first. Here's my origin story." And they all go around the table telling their origin story.
Who is the best origin story? Give me a quick ranking.
So Jaimon Hansu's is he used to be a general for the Empire, and then they asked him to like I think burn down a village or something. Again, it's something like this. I don't remember. This
Hmm.
movie is so unmemorable, but they ask him to burn down a village. He says no, 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 and then
No, no, no.
the Empire
Just with a
kills
combo
all of
finger.
his soldiers in front of him, and then
They
he's like,
didn't do
"I,"
anything.
and it's weird because like are his soldiers the good guys? Like you're part of the Empire, like.
Yeah, you're just killing your own
Like
kind.
it's good that you drew a line at burning a village down or whatever, but I imagine you've done some fucked up shit before.
Hmm.
So that one's not very good, that origin story. The guy who wrote A Bird, his origin story is he is a prince and his king and queen parents got killed. The king got killed by the empire and then war happens on his planet. And it's weird. And this is the aesthetic thing I was talking about. Like none of it like meshes together. There's no cohesiveness between the aesthetics, which is slightly interesting that like, oh, it's a big universe, like different places have different aesthetics, but
Hmm.
the guy who wrote A Bird like had a little hat on and he's like it's like a steampunk world and then these ships are getting attacked by birds and then his mom is like the queen is standing there and then the guy who wrote A Bird, he's not part
Yeah.
bird at all but he's got bird skills. He's like my mom didn't want to run because she wanted to have an honorable death, so she jumped off the fucking castle. I'm like, how is that an honorable death?
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like that's, I guess, doing it on your own terms, but
yeah, but
maybe
like
don't do that.
if
Don't.
you're
That's wrong.
if you're the captain of a ship, right?
Yeah, you go down with said ship. So I
You
guess
don't
going
fucking
down with
shoot
the kingdom.
yourself.
Yeah.
You don't shoot yourself during the battle. Like he'll be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, Captain, like there's an iceberg, there's pirates," and then he just shoots himself. Like what is that's not honorable. Anyway, so that
That's a
origin
very good
story
point.
sucks. The guy or the lady who fought a spider, her village was raided, I think, or something happened, destroyed her family and her friends and her village, and then she's like, so I cut off my arms. I don't get why, but she's like, and then like the
It wasn't
souls and
like to
the
save her or anything. Like she wasn't
no,
like
she
stuck
was
like Aquaman to
no,
save
she
his
was like
baby.
alive. She was fine. She cuts off her arm. She puts on cyborg arms. I think so. The lightsabers, I think they're really hot to the touch. So you
That
have to
makes
have
sense.
cyborg arms to do it, which is like kind of a decent idea. But then later on, Korra gets one and she just ties like towel over the handle and she's fine. Anyway, so that's her origin story. Blood Axe's friend, her village was also attacked. And then Blood Axe showed up and they became friends. Korra's, we've seen her origin like three times. She used to be part of the Empire. She killed the princess, but the princess isn't dead because she's magical. Then they called her a traitor and then she ran away. She's a scar giver. I don't know what that really. Ugh. Anyway, so the
She
battle.
just gives people a lot of scars, whether that be metaphorical, whether that be literally, and her
Oh
like
yeah.
giving him a bunch of paper cuts or something.
So you know how she killed Constable Noble, Constantinople. When they bring it,
I'm gonna guess.
no, wait,
I'm
no,
not gonna have to guess.
you know that she threw him off a tower and he landed on rocks. But
Oh.
you know how she did do that. Like that is something she did. That's
Hmm.
what I mean by this question. So then they bring him back, and then he's in that weird chrysalis womb thing, and he's got a scar on his chest, right? And
From The
so
Rock.
and so the doctors or whoever is like, "Hey, dude, like, sorry we couldn't, heal that scar, but don't worry, we still can." And then Noble is like, "No, leave it. A scar giver from I got a scar from the scar giver." That's poetic. Like, I'll leave it, and then I'll bring her in to the king or the emperor or whatever, and then he'll be like, "Hey, you got a scar from the scar giver. It's cool." Like really just on the nose, just telling us like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a like thematic thing or whatever. And then okay, so after that origin story scene, the next day, the Dreadnought, which is the ship, they arrive. They're gonna raid the planet. They know that Korra's there, the Scar Giver, whatever. So, they have this whole plan. It's fine, whatever, I guess.
Hmm.
And then so Korra and Gunner go and talk to Noble, and Noble pulls down his shirt and he's like, I got a scar from the scar giver. Like, well, what are the odds? And she's like, I thought you were dead. And he's like, but check out my scar. And then so Noble says, look, we're gonna kill you all. That's why we're here. You know that. That's why you got all your mates. You went around the galaxy to find really good fighters. So we're gonna kill you all. And then he says, but if you come with us instead, mate, like we'll leave your people alone. Like that's fine. And so she has a moment of weakness where she's like, I'm gonna go with them, whatever. So she goes up. She's like, I'm gonna come with you. I accept your terms, even though they knew this was gonna happen, right? Like they
Yeah.
planned for this. That's the entire plan.
They trained a bunch of people to help fight
That's why they got all their grain. That's why there was a 5 minute scene of cutting down grain.
me
But
in
she's
Stardew Valley.
but she's like, okay, I'll go with you. She goes and she says goodbye to Gunner. There's a guy in the background holding a big hammer. He's gonna hit a bell when the fight begins. She tells Gunner like, I gotta do this and know what I'm doing. Gunner's like, don't you? But why did we, do this? Like, what was the
Yeah.
point of all of this? She's like, I know what I'm doing. So they hug. It's a long hug. She's like, let go of me. He's like, no. And then she's like, let go of me. And then he does. And she walks over to Noble and then she looks down and her gun's gone. And then Gunner took the gun and he turns around and he shoots the bell. So the fight begins. And then there's like the
Would
fight.
that make the bell ring or would that like
I
explode
mean,
it?
it did ring. So I guess it would. So then people pop out of traps underground. They start fighting. God, there's such a fucking dull movie like that. It's not even. It's like an hour before the fight starts, and the fight's not even interesting. Like
At
the
least they had
choreo.
the fight. I was about to say this
Yeah,
is so
like
stupid. If she just they like just go on with it.
that would have been better if I'm being honest with you. I don't know why, but they have the fight. There's no interesting choreography or set pieces. It's just like
They win.
all
Who wins? Or is this
the
a Rebel Moon Part 3
the
thing?
Rebel Moon team wins, but
Okay,
not
good.
after thinking that they might lose. They like basically everyone on the Rebel Moon team has this like they're so good at fighting that they can just like walk through a battlefield and like spin around and shoot people and like they're doing really well. Then the spider lady, she's not a spider lady. Nemesis, the lady with arms,
Yeah.
with robot arms. She does a lightsaber fight with a bunch of guys, and then she is doing pretty well, but then she loses.
How? She has two lightsabers.
Well,
Is
they
she be
had
kicking ass?
she did kick ass for a while, but then they kill her. And then
She was my favorite character.
the guy who wrote a bird is
I like
hanging
her.
out in a different shed, and he's like, well, we can't let them have all the fun. So they burst out and they start, kicking ass and taking names and doing all this stuff. I don't know what Jaimon Hansu is doing. I can't remember again because it's not interesting, but they're doing really well.
Yeah.
So during this whole thing, Gunnar and Korra go to Korra's old ship that she arrived on. It's one of the Imperial ships. And so they get in there, they fly up to the dreadnought. They're like, "Oh no, we're injured. Can you let us on?" And they're like, "Yeah." So they bring him to the medical bay and they sneak on there. I guess like that's kind of a fun idea. Like that's a good tactic to use in this war.
Hmm.
And so they're
I mean,
like
it's
at the
how Luke and all them
it
get
kind
like
of
out
is,
of
yeah.
the.
It's exactly the same,
I
right?
don't think they say they're sick though. They just pull
No,
up.
they just pretend to be Imperial. But and so they go to the sick bay. I think there's a scene where the doctors are like, "These people aren't sick," and then they start fucking murdering all these doctors. Then they're just going through the ship, murdering all the enemies. Cuts to a scene where Korra she like takes an elevator down to the engine room, and in the engine room, people are just shoveling coal. So she like kills them or something. Then she puts a bomb on the engine. And then she goes back up, and then Gunner's hiding in their ship. They're gonna escape. Because I guess they accomplished something. I don't know.
Well, they put a bomb in the engine. I'm sure that's gonna have some.
But we didn't know that. That comes back later. Or we did know it. I don't fucking know. Like
It's just a piece of coal.
and so then Constable Noble and some other guy are like hanging out by the escape ship that Gunner's on. Cora gets there. Cora confronts Noble and the other guy, like just a random goon, and the Gunner sneaks off the ship with a gun. And I'm like, oh, he's gonna shoot Constable Noble. He does, and he shoots the other guy for some reason. I don't know what happens. This whole time they're like, well, we don't need the grain anymore. Like we can just fucking blow up the planet. This is all out of order, by the way. Before this
Okay.
happens, there's a scene, and I had to rewind this because I thought I missed something. After the robot arm lady dies, and then the bird guy, the guy who wrote a bird, runs out and they're getting into a fight. They think they've won. So they're like, whoa, we did it. It's awesome possum, they say. And then one tank shows up and they're like,
How big is the
oh,
tank?
that's pretty big for a
Like
tank, I
it's
guess.
like if you had to rank it on tank size, it'd be
Uh,
like
it's like,
uh one being like Winston, like a relatively small tank, or two
okay.
being like Reacher.
Okay, I'd say it's about Reacher sized.
About Reacher, that's a
It's
big tank.
it's the Reacher of tanks. And so they're like, oh, fuck, it's a tank. We're all doomed. And then Jimmy the robot shows up. He's wearing this
Oh, I forgot about
crown
him.
of thorns, but it's antlers. And oh, yeah, earlier, Cora goes to Jimmy the robot, is like, can you fucking help us? And he's like, I can't. You're going to die. And then he runs away. But then he shows up because no one ever thought that he wasn't going to, because this guy is not a character unless he helps.
Yeah,
He's been in this movie for like a total of 2 minutes, or been
and
in
he
this
looks
franchise.
sick, and
It's a
he has
good
little
design. Got his
True
antlers on.
Detective antlers. Yeah.
Yeah. So he fucking takes out the tank. He's killing people. And I guess it's cool. He's doing fights. He jumps really high. But then the Dreadnought and Noble are like, well, we don't need the grain for some reason anymore. So we can just take Cora back, the Scar Giver. And they pulls down his shirt. He's like, I got a scar from the Scar Giver. No, he didn't do it a third time. He did it twice though. But I guess they don't need the grain, so they crank this like gun. It's like a circular crank. You like it's very slow. They move this giant gun pointing at the village, and so they're like they're gonna fire it, but then it turns out that Cora put a gun on the engine, so she blows up the gun, or not the she blows up the bomb, which blows up the engine, and then so it throws off the entire balance of the ship. So the gun they lined up shoots elsewhere. I think the whole ship falls. Cora and Noble have like a fight. The ship's falling into the air. They're fighting. There's that scene where this is before again. I'm doing this out of order, but there's that scene where she kills a guy with a lightsaber that she can't grab the lightsaber because it's hot, and then she ties like a towel around it, or like a bit of cloth, and
Do you think that would help? Like, how hot is the handle?
Apparently not hot enough to because she can use it after she ties a handle to it. So I don't know why they don't just tie a fucking handle to
Yeah,
all of
just
these
make a
things.
handle that has something around it. That like,
Yeah,
what's
like
the
a
point of this
sword.
weapon if it
Like
damages
every
you?
sword in
Yeah.
the world. So stupid. And then so they have a fight, a lightsaber fight, Noble and Korra. Maybe it's not a lightsaber fight. I don't fucking know. And then
How does Noble have it like? Is he a robot? Does he have like a cool Darth Vader
he's
suit?
stronger. No, he just looks like a guy. But he's stronger now after he got killed by Korra.
Oh, so kind of
And
like
so
Alan.
Alan Richson from Reacher.
Yeah.
So they fight. Korra eventually loses, and then Gunner, I think, kills him. And then they get into the ship. Gunner gets hurt somehow. I don't know how, man. And then they fly down to the ground, and then Gunner's like, Korra, I love you. Oh yeah, they had sex earlier.
Oh,
I
at
guess.
the bar, at that one bar thing.
Yes, or before, or around there, around when they
Okay.
were no, not at the cantina bar.
Oh,
In
okay.
the second movie, after they're back, after they think that they've won, they have sex. Fine, whatever. It's romantic, I guess. And so he's like, "I love you," and Cora's like, "Why can't I just have this one thing? Don't die, don't leave me." And then the rebels show up. Blood Axe's friends all fly in, and how does the movie actually end? I
I don't
don't
know.
know. I don't have any idea what happens, but the rebels show up. I don't know. They didn't want to help before, but now they do. But
Because
Gunner
they
dies. I
they
guess,
realize there's a chance. Like the end
yeah.
of the really shitty Star Wars movie. I
Maybe
know
they.
that doesn't help, but the very last one.
Oh, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah. I saw it in
Terrible, right?
theaters. It was really bad.
Did you really? I didn't even see it in theaters. Not a good movie. But
No.
the rebels show up. I guess Gunner died. Nemesis died. The guy who wrote A Bird is still alive. Jaimon Hansu
Sick.
is still alive. I think
Sick.
Blood Axe's friend is still alive.
I have no I don't like Blood Axe's friend
The
because
thing
they're just
about
Blood Axe's friend. Why did they not kill off her instead of Blood Axe when this guy's name is literally Blood Axe?
I don't know. It was
That's
probably a
sick.
really emotional scene in the first movie that didn't affect me. I don't fucking care about any of these characters. They could have all died. They could have lost and I wouldn't have cared because they didn't do anything to make me care or like any of
They
these people.
they gave you their origin stories. Bird guy's mom died. That's sad.
Bird Guy's mom is a dummy. But
I
Zack Snyder said that that origin story scene is from Justice League 2 that he never got to make.
For
He
who?
said for the Justice League.
Oh. I was thinking like specifically the mom dying. And I was like,
I mean, maybe, I don't know. But like he wanted to have like a Last Supper scene where the Justice League sits there on the day before, I don't know, they go back in time to fix things or the day before the final fight and they just talk about, what happened to them in the last 10 years. And that scene in concept isn't terrible, but also it's pretty fucking stupid to just have them exposit their origin stories to us. It's just an exposition scene.
yeah,
And if it happened in Justice League, I guess it'd be I don't want to see them flash back to
the origins we
to their
all know.
origins or to
Yeah.
like anything. Like don't do a flashback, just have them sitting there, this team of people who have, fought and lost together, like they've been through so much. Just have them sit there a moment of peace before the big fight or before they go back in time to fix things and they're just talking. They're just
Just
being
joking around.
together.
Yeah.
They're just having the final season of Game of Thrones. I'm going to tell you what happens. Not the
Okay.
spoiler, but they're going to have this big war, right? But the episode before the big war is literally just the night before where they're all the characters that I guess we love. They're sitting there drinking, laughing, singing, having a good time. Like it's actually a really good like moment. Like you see all these people like they know that they might all die. They know that they
Hmm.
might lose. They know that no matter what, some of these people are not making it out. So they just spend a night together. And that's really great. So if they did that in the Justice League movie or the sequel, that'd be great, I guess. But if it's like them flashing back to like Flash is like 10 years ago, I met George Clooney. And then Ben Affleck's like 10 years ago, I didn't kill the Joker, but I could have and I wanted to.
I killed every single one of his henchmen.
I sat him down, I tied him to a chair, and then I just waited for his friends to come in, and I snapped all their necks in front of them, and my God, I was hard. Because it's rated R.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's needlessly graphic. And then I guess
Definitely.
I don't know, is Wonder Woman alive in the nightmare sequence? We see her?
I can picture her with like shit in her eyes, like hung up or something, but I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh,
But
maybe. But and then
oh
Mira is like 10 years ago I lost Arthur Curry or Aquaman and yeah. And then Cyborg's like 10 years ago I didn't have a movie because people treated me terribly. at DC. I don't want to see that. It sounds boring. And it was boring in Rebel Moon when they do their origin stories. And the
Wonder
Joker's
Woman did
there.
die.
Okay. That makes sense. You would take her out. If you were
Yeah.
Superman and you were taking over the world, you do that first, probably. And the Joker's there, and Joker's like, 10 years ago, I asked Batman for a reach around, and he
He
tied me
gave
to a
it to me.
chair. He tied me to a chair, and I thought this is way more fun than I thought it was going to be. And then he snapped all my friends' necks. And then everyone just looks at the Joker, and Batman goes, I'm going to fucking kill you. Be a great scene.
Yeah. Honestly, if
But
they did that, I like what you were talking about. That's also how they end the zombies storyline. Fun fact. I'm sure they do with
oh
other
yeah,
stuff
I
too.
knew that actually. But yeah,
Yeah.
just have a
It's a
scene
nice touch.
like in a war movie. They do that in every war movie where they're sitting around a campfire and they're like, "What are you gonna do when you get back home?" They're like, "I'm gonna find my best girl and kiss her." And everyone's like, "Yeah." And I don't like scenes like that in a war movie. They're fun, but they're played out. One of the reasons I like Dunkirk, I think, I haven't seen it since I saw it in
I
theaters.
haven't even seen it.
But there's a scene in Dunkirk where it's just a fucking like they're all engaged in war and a bunch of white guys with, you know, black hair. Like every main character is just a white dude with black hair and they all look very similar.
Okay. What about Harry Styles?
They're
Can't you
all
see?
modeled off of Harry Styles.
Oh God.
They all
Is that
look
good or
like Harry
bad?
Styles. And there's a
Oh,
scene where
Harry Styles.
instead of having like a scene where they sit around a campfire and they're like, "What are you gonna do when you get back home?" They're like, "I'm gonna, have a beer or whatever." Like, you don't get that scene because there's no downtime. It's war. Something really bad is happening. They're trying to escape this island of Dunkirk or this whatever Dunkirk is. And so Harry and so Harry Styles and like another white guy with black hair or brunette hair, they like see each other and they walk up to each other and they just sidle up next to one another and they just never say a word. They just take, they become a team without saying anything because they know they're both on the same side. They don't need to
Hmm.
talk. They're like, I don't have like friends here. You're on my same side, so we're on the same side. We're gonna do this together. And I'm like, that's a great scene. But yeah, campfire stuff, really cool.
How does Harry Styles do as an
He's good in
actor?
that
I don't think
movie.
I've seen him in anything.
There's not much acting in that movie. There's not much dialogue, which is, I think that's a good movie. I know some people hate it,
Probably is a
but
good thing. I
I
don't know
think
if
it's pretty good.
I'd want to hear Harry go like, I like tacos.
He doesn't say that, I'm pretty sure.
You're
But
pretty sure.
oh yeah, the ending of Rebel Moon is they're all hanging out in that room again, I think. And someone says to Cora, like, "Hey, just so you know, I know you murdered that child, the princess or whatever, but can't kill her. She's actually alive." And Cora's like, "What?" And then I think the movie ends, hinting
At a third.
at six more sequels, which is what I almost said Ryan Reynolds. What Zack Snyder has claimed is he has planned out. He's got like a ton of other ideas. Like their comic books. There's a Rebel Moon video game coming out, but it's exclusive to Netflix. That's have you ever played a game on Netflix?
I've played like Triviaverse and those kind of ones, but never like the
But they
actual
have
games you can
like
get on Netflix. Yeah, they have
Crossy
like BTD
Road
6
and
you could play.
yeah, like I mean I guess it's kind of neat. They have that on YouTube too now. Have you played those games?
They do?
Yeah, I've been playing this
What
game
games? Are they
called
fun?
Ball Fall.
Oh,
It's actually
oh,
not called that. I think it's called Stack Bounce, but you're a ball and then you're on top of a tower and there's a spinning thing below you.
oh, yeah, yeah.
And then when it's a certain color, you can like propel yourself through it. I like that game. I don't know what it's called, but I like
You
it.
can, there's definitely many apps, but maybe it's better on YouTube. Is
I
there
doubt it.
ads? Do you have to stop to like for ads and
No,
stuff?
there are no ads. At
Oh,
least I
then
didn't get
it
any. Maybe
probably
it's
is
because,
better.
yeah. Anyway, so Snyder supposedly talked to Netflix, and Netflix mandated a PG-13 version. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You just made a
I was
yeah, he was
prepared
gonna
to mute
sneeze.
myself in case I sneezed.
But so Netflix said you can't make a rated R version. You can't make it 3 hours long. So supposedly Netflix did actually have specific criteria that Snyder had to meet.
Okay.
And I'm looking at this article on Forbes, and I think this is the article where he talks about it. But so he had a 400-page screenplay. I don't know for both Rebel Moon Part One and Part Two, or just Part One.
That was just Rebel Moon exclusively.
Yeah. And so when Netflix said, "Oh yeah, here we go." There was a conversation about should we just cut it? The studio wanted a 2 hour movie, so we cut the 200-page script and cut it in half. We made the final scene of part one a little bigger. Okay, so part one had a 200-page script and they just cut it in half, which is not how, in my eyes, you should make a movie. Don't just take a fucking script that you wrote and they're like, "Hey, can you make this shorter?" And they're like, "Sure." And they just cut it at 50. Like, at the halfway mark. Like you can use that as kind of a metric. Like, okay, part one is going to end around here, but don't just like flippantly take your 200-page script and then arbitrarily take, okay, well, I guess we'll end it at page 100. Like
Yeah,
structure
like
the movie around the idea that it has to be shorter, maybe tighten up some scenes, maybe take out some
8 minute long filling cantina thing.
8 second, but yes, take out some slow-mo, whatever. But so
Take out
the
all
rate
slow-mo. Slow-mo's stupid. And almost
you
every single time it's
I
used. I'm
agree
like, this
with
is
you.
stupid.
I think it can work as a tool in certain situations. Like if you use it well and sparingly,
Yeah.
it can be effective. But when that's kind of like the main thing that you do, like the slow mo in part one, I texted. I don't know if we ever mentioned this on the podcast, but so I was watching Rebel Moon Part One. Reese didn't want to watch it, so
Nope.
I told him to mute me on text, and I texted him my reactions. And at a certain point, I stopped because I just got bored.
Yeah.
But there are like two scenes in the first, I don't know, 15 minutes of that movie where it's a slow motion scene of grain falling out of someone's hand. You don't need that. It's so crazy.
You slow-mo action maybe used to be cool. I'm sure I liked it as a kid, but currently all it does is ruin the action.
Oh yeah,
Like
it's
I want to see
not
well
interesting.
choreographed. Not it doesn't need to be like the fastest freaking thing ever, but it needs to be like well, like at least at a good pace where I like enjoying it. I'm like, oh, this is at least realistic or something.
Yeah,
But if
or
it's
maybe do
constantly slowed
like
down, I'm like, this is boring. I don't like this.
it's at normal speed, like 1 second of slow motion, just to like really do like the hero shot, I guess, and then bring it back to full speed. Have you seen 300, the Zack Snyder
No.
movie? Apparently it's great. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so I can't speak on it. But in that movie, I think they pioneered this technique or they popularized it. But basically, with a hand crank camera, you do it at normal speed and then you
Hmm.
slow it down and then the speed it would look very slow and then you like crank it back up and
Hmm.
it was effective at the time. I think, I mean, people responded to it positively, but since then he's just been doing kind of the same thing.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did
so
it
we
in Wonder Woman. I don't think Snyder directed that, but
no, that was
yeah, it was
Patty Jenkins,
yeah.
but they
But
do that,
they did do it. And
the
I think
hand
it's
crank thing.
fine, but I do think it's overused. But like
I
I think
think
it'd be
so,
cooler to see Wonder Woman just move so fast that like you see what
right?
the soldiers are saying that she's beating the shit out of. Like you
Yeah,
see like nothing and then just they fly through a wall. Like that's cooler than her like slowly going in. You see her like hit their ankle or something. I don't
right. I
care.
agree with you. The rated R version is going to debut after part two. I think the release window is June, July, or August. Each extended version, I think, is 3 hours long. I think he's going to drop part one and part two extended on the same day.
Are you gonna watch them?
I don't want to, man. If I
How about
have to
I'll
for
watch them.
this,
That'll be my birthday present for you.
I don't even want that. Look, he said like Snyder has repeatedly said that his cut is so different, it's a totally different movie practically, and I'm not sure what Netflix was trying to accomplish here, other than artificially replicating the Justice League Snyder cut drama. I don't
I don't
look,
think
I'm not
Netflix is doing that.
I was gonna say like I don't want to say that this is just a lie, but I can't understand why Netflix would do this. Again, it would get some hype for their movie to have the Snyder cut thing.
Hmm.
But Netflix can upload longer movies. Like The Irishman is like 3.5 movies long, like and rated R, I think. So it's weird.
They can do
They
whatever
just
they want. They have
they
so
just
much
dumped so
control.
much money onto this. Like I don't know, but I guess I really don't want to return to this franchise. I might watch the Snyder cut of this if I hear it's good, but people are gonna say it's better. Like just like the Snyder cut of Justice League is better.
And
It's
people think
overly
it's like one of
long.
the greatest like superhero movies ever, which is insane to me.
It's yeah, I agree. It's not. It's better.
Yeah,
I think it's good. I don't think it's good actually. I think in a sense it's good because it
compared
sticks.
to actually, sorry, you finish. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I said this last week. Zack Snyder seems like a fine person. I have no
Hmm.
problem with him as a human being. I don't like his movies, but I like that he just makes the shit he makes. And
Yeah,
in my eyes, it is shit. But in other people's eyes, it's great. They love these movies, and that's great. People should like what they like, you know? But when it gets to the point where they're artificially creating this hype, I'm like, you're just giving us shit movies at the promise that they're gonna be great down the line. I don't like that as a business model. I don't like what that might do for the industry if it has any effect at all, which I don't think it will.
I think it'll cost too much money. Like it'll cost more money than it like
Yeah, because
will
there's
gain, I
no
guess.
way Netflix is gonna make their money back on this. I Netflix is in so much debt, I'm pretty sure. But like, I don't imagine people are going to sign up for Netflix to watch Rebel Moon.
No.
There are some people, surely, but enough people to warrant $200 million? Probably not, you know? And the Snyder Cut, like, I think it's good in the sense that Snyder had a vision for DC, and whether or not that vision I think is good does not matter. It was his vision. He got to do what he wanted to do. And so that's why I think the Snyder Cut, in a sense, is pretty okay. Like, he did what he wanted to, people responded to it. I don't like that, portrayal of the DC universe, but that's just my opinion.
Hmm.
Glad that we're going to get something else because I don't think, as a fan of DC, I want better stuff,
Yeah.
But
I want more accurate stuff. I mean, I'm not a huge comic book person though, like the actual comic books, so
right.
I can't speak for accuracy as much as other people can,
I
but
don't know. The thing about, I've been thinking about this recently in terms of an accurate portrayal of a comic book character, especially for one like Batman or Superman who've been around since the 40s. There
hmm
is no one portrayal of them in the comics. There is an overarching, like, certain like characteristics that the characters have evolved into
hmm
that most comic writers try to fit into. Like, oh, he doesn't kill, so you'll that's like a restriction on the material. I'll write around it and I'll still make it interesting. I just want to see something like that. I don't know. Like, but again,
Superman be an actual symbol of hope.
right,
That'd be
like,
nice.
what did he do? Why did anyone like that guy in that world?
He saved like a ship or something, and then people like reached up to touch him. That's weird.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
this is a kind of tangent, but people do that with celebrities a lot, and that's bizarre to me. Where you just all you want to do is like touch them, so you just reach your hand out to try to grab them. Like that's crazy. Why are you doing that?
Miranda?
Hmm.
Do you know Kevin Abstract? He's in Brockhampton.
I don't. I guess I
He
know
went
Brockhampton exists.
Miranda once told me, she was like, I touched Kevin Abstract's foot. And I was like, I don't, that's fucking weird. Why? That's not impressive.
No,
Like,
you know the shit. What's the band? Okay,
Fallout Boy.
I'm gonna look up the band real quick, but you can finish
Is
your
it
story.
Fallout Boy? No, that's the
It's not Fall Out
story.
Boy.
She just
Oh, what?
touched his foot. Maybe it was his butt. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering the body part, but she touched him. That's apparently story worthy to tell me.
No, well, it was when I went to go see Fall Out Boy, but it was one of the opening bands for Fall Out Boy. I can't remember what their name is at the moment, and that's what's frustrating me.
All time low.
I don't think so.
30 seconds
Oh,
to
Bring Me the
summer.
Horizon.
Oh, remember Kai?
Yeah.
Do you? He loves Bring Me
Yeah.
the Horizon, I think.
Yeah, I like some of their songs, but they're like a pretty hard metal band. And
Okay.
this dude was running down the aisles, like trying to like high-fiving people and stuff. And so
Yeah.
he came past, I was on the edge, so he ran up the aisle. And I don't listen to them very much. So I felt weird like trying to give a high five, but I was like, okay, I'll do it anyway. And like he high-fived everyone, then the row before me, he stopped and then didn't high-five me. And then like kept going and high-fived the people behind us. So I'm convinced like he
He
saw
saw
me
you and he
and then was
scoped
like,
you out.
no, just no. There's no way this guy listens to me.
Yeah. I don't know. We met George Takei. Remember that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I guess this is similar, but afterwards you thought it was cool that I made him laugh.
Uh, That is
Do,
cool.
do you remember saying that?
I don't, but I
Yeah.
still stand by that it's cool.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, that did actually feel pretty good to make a celebrity laugh. But like, if we walked away and you're like, you shook his hand, that's really cool. I'd be like, yeah, I guess. Or we met Little Billy,
I do remember
Shazam,
I tell people that because I
Asher
had some friends
Angel,
who
I
were
think.
obsessed with Asher Angel, and I was like,
Do
oh
you
yeah, I've met
really?
them. Well, I used to,
Okay.
and I showed them the picture, and they were like incredibly jealous.
Do you remember that was such a funny experience? We were standing there in line and the Comic-Con guy was like, he kept telling us like, have your camera ready. Like, this is a fast moving line, like no holdups.
Hmm.
And then someone also told us like, hey, if you buy Asher Angel's new hit single, then you get a free photo or you get a like autograph. And we're like, no. We're like, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I feel like there's no celebrity that I'd get so excited with like shut. I guess if I like was able to talk to them and have like an actual conversation with them, I'd be excited. And then if I like saw like Noah Khan, if I like
Right.
saw him out in the wild, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. And then if I was able to actually talk to him, I'd be like, okay, that's awesome. But if I like
Right.
said hi, if I like gave him a handshake, like I can't really like talk much. I wouldn't be like extremely excited about it.
I mean, yeah, you could be like, yeah, I met Noah Khan, nice
Yeah, like
guy.
that'd be a fun thing to say, a fun fact I can tell people.
But I
But
imagine you're not going to come to the next episode of this podcast and be like, guys, oh my God, I met Noah Khan. I touched him.
yeah, like that's weird, I feel like. And if you have that much passion and that much excitement, like go for it.
Oh
I
yeah,
dig
that's
it. That's just
fine.
something I don't understand
No,
personally, but there's nothing wrong with it. Unless it's obsessive.
I'd
Like
probably cry if I met Brie Larson.
I'll,
I think I would.
I'll let her know.
Yeah,
Let's hit
maybe
her up.
not. No, one of our movies had a pretty big impact on me at a time in my life where I needed a big impact. But I don't want to meet
Yeah.
anyone. Like, I don't. If I saw a celebrity on the street, I probably wouldn't stop to talk to them. Like,
No. I
the
wouldn't want to
most I
bother them.
do, if I like if I like bumped into them, I'd probably be like, "Oh shit, hey, it's Donald Glover. That's fucking weird that you're here at Walmart in this town that I know you don't live in because I've checked." But the most I do is they're like, "Hey man, love your work. Like, you do some great stuff." I don't
Yeah.
think I'd be like, "Oh my God, Donnie G, what's going on,
Yeah. And
man?
I'd feel
Wanna hang
weird
out?"
asking for a photo, you know? Because then like that's what everyone does. And it's kind of
Oh
like
yeah,
obviously to like as proof to be like, oh, I did meet him.
right.
But like I don't want that meeting or whatever to exclusively be something that I like for my own gain. Like
Yeah.
they're just living their life. Just let
But
them
if
live
they
their life.
offered, I would probably take it. Like if I
Oh,
met,
me
I don't
too,
know,
100%.
if like
Like
if we're walking down the street,
Main
you and I,
Street.
we're walking down Main Street, and then like we just see Ryan Reynolds, we're like, oh hey man, like we love Deadpool, we love what you're about, very charming guy, nice to meet you. And then we keep walking, and he's like, oh you want a photo or something? We'd be like, yes.
Yeah, but I
I'd
100% want
sh
it to be their right
I'd show him the photo of Little
suggestion.
Billy and be like, can we recreate this?
What is the photo? I have it somewhere.
I think I have it too. It's really bad.
Is
My
it?
forehead is giant and shiny. I mean, it's not a bad photo, but I think it's really funny. Also, I wonder what he was thinking when we met him, just two grown men waiting in line to
I
meet
wasn't
little Billy.
grown.
Okay, one grown man and you waiting in line to meet little Billy.
Wait, I guess was this COVID year?
No, it was 2019.
Okay, so I was not an adult yet.
No, not technically, but mentally, you were getting further
Oh,
somehow.
I'm uh I almost said years beyond my age. I don't know how to phrase this.
You're years
I'm
behind.
mentally so many years ahead. That's the word. I'm miles ahead, streets ahead, whatever it is.
Yeah, anyway. Do you have any questions about Rebel Moon that I can fill in for you?
I don't think I
You
care
care?
enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, man. If
It doesn't seem
I'm,
great. It seemed like you said it was very like nothing. That's what I expect I would take away.
I don't know. I feel like he's going to respond. I don't want to speculate too much, but there's a chance that the negative response to this might be construed as people like not being comfortable with like, oh, like an R-rated or really adult themed Star Wars world.
Hmm.
But I don't think that's it. Like, first of all, your adult themes are wild. Like, there's so much like fucking weird things in this movie that I'm like, that if that's why it's rated R, which the movie's on Netflix currently, not rated R,
Okay.
but it's not dark. It's not anything really. I guess people cuss, I think. I don't actually know. Because again, don't remember it. But aesthetically, it's just not very interesting. It feels derivative. I would like to see, and people have said this in response to Rebel Moon, like, no, it's a good idea. Like, I would be down to watch like just a fucking weird Star Wars, like a sci-fi
Hmm.
world that, takes some inspiration from sci-fi fantasy canon that we've experienced over the past 50 years, like does it in like a strange way. There's nothing wrong with the idea of doing a weird sci-fi world. Just make it interesting. Make it
Yeah, write an actual and compelling story with compelling characters, and
right.
everyone will
Oh,
be invested. You're
this is
good.
something I wanted to say. Could it have been one movie? Did it need to be part one and part two? I'm not sure because part one is just gathering the team, and part two is them like getting grain for an hour and then a fight that's not very interesting. Seven Samurai is like 4 hours long. Magnificent
Hmm.
Seven, though, is not that long, especially the most recent one, which isn't great, but it's fun. I liked it. Saw it opening night alone. It was great. I don't know why I didn't invite you. Probably because that was that period where you were dead.
Ah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
tough times. I did not enjoy it.
me neither. I had to go see Magnificent Seven alone.
When did
But
Magnificent Seven come out?
2017, 2016 maybe.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. It was fun. It wasn't great. Wasn't, game changing. But do you need to make it two parts? Zack Snyder, Rebel Moon? I don't know. Because if it wasn't two parts, that like end of part one and beginning of part two would be even weirder. Because in universe, it'd be like, oh, this guy died, and then next scene, he's brought back to life. Like, okay,
Yeah.
that's cool, I guess. Like maybe hold off for a while before you reveal that he's still alive. I don't know.
Or just show it immediately. Because at that
Yeah.
point, and it's never meant to be like a huge fake out. It's meant more for the characters to think it than the audience.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Or just don't kill him.
That's
Maybe
also
they
true.
think
But he
he's
needs a
dead, but
scar
he's not.
from the
You
scar
could get a
giver.
scar from a scar giver any time of the week. But like, cut out. Because the first movie is literally nothing. It's just getting a bunch of people, and each of them have their own origin story where they're fighting a spider or riding a bird. That's it. That's the entire movie. Then there's a little bit of a fight at the end, a little bit of a betrayal by Han Solo. And then the second movie is again nothing. The first half is so dull and boring and uninteresting. And the second half, I guess, is supposed to be interesting. I
Hmm.
didn't find it very compelling, but like the fight is what this entire two movie saga has been building towards. So yeah, you could definitely cut this into one movie, and I think it might work better. I don't know. I was reading some reviews, and so many people were saying like the second part specifically makes no sense.
Hmm.
And I thought it didn't make sense because I just didn't remember the first one very well. But some of the reviews were like, I watched them back to back. None of this makes any sense. Like, I don't know what is happening at any point. And I guess he'll fill in the blanks in his three
Next
hour,
six movies.
yeah. Or the director's cuts, which are 3 hours each, 6 hours in total. Like, I guess that'll fill in the blanks and make it a more fleshed out universe.
Does he think he can? Is he like trying to pull off Lord of the Rings stuff?
No,
Because
he's
those movies are long, but like incredibly like well put together and thought out
right.
and compelling.
I think maybe. See, the Lord of the Rings universes, first of all, they start relatively not low key, but minimal.
They have a little Hobbit.
Yeah, like the first Fellowship of the Ring. I haven't seen these in a while, but it's the focus is on the Hobbit. Is it Bilbo or is it Frodo? Which one's in Lord of the Rings? It's Frodo, right?
Frodo's Lord of the Rings. Bilbo's in the
Yeah.
Hobbit.
And then you introduce Gandalf, who's magic, then you get the Fellowship, and then the ending of that movie is not this bombastic, like crazy spectacle. It's like a guy it's Sean Bean getting killed in a fucking field, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't
Look at
seen
the
them in a
ending
while
of
either.
Fellowship of the Ring, but it's like a relatively timid ending. And then the next ones grow and grow like slowly but like consistently. And
Nothing happened.
I don't know, and maybe Snyder wants to do something like that where you slowly build out this universe until it's very fleshed out and complicated, but in a way that's you can understand. But at the same time, the Lord of the Rings movies work on their own, or the theatrical versions completely work.
Hmm.
And the extended versions just fill in things that are cool and interesting to actually know, but you're not, in terms of your comprehension of the world, you're not lacking if you just watch the theatrical version. Like you'll understand the story, you'll still get
Hmm.
the emotional beats, and then the extended versions, which are much longer, just add to that.
Hmm.
And that's the kind of route I feel like he is trying to take, but he isn't giving us, at least I didn't feel like the movies that we got were filled up. They weren't fleshed out enough in themselves to warrant a like actual benefit to watching. I guess there will be a benefit because it'll fill in the blanks, but it's not a
Will it though,
reward
or
to
will it
watch.
more blanks?
I probably both. It'll fill in some things, but make other things more confusing. But it's not a reward to watch that. It's not like a universe I want to learn more about. It's a movie that I feel like I need to know more about because it doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
And there's not that sense of excitement in me. Like when there are certain details in a movie, like when you find out, like, oh, like the reason that they all have metal arms is because you can't wield the lightsaber. Like if the movie was really good, that would be like a fun little wrinkle.
Yeah,
And
a
that's what I
wrinkle in
feel.
time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I feel like every movie that we've talked, maybe not every movie, a lot of movies, like Marvel, the good DC, the good Star Wars, the good dinosaur, all these movies, if they're really good and entertaining and fun and we like them, then we can forgive really stupid shit. But when the movie itself is not any of those things, it's just dull and boring. If there's a stupid thing in that world, it sticks out a lot more and there's nothing to contrast it to.
Hmm.
So like, let's think. What's a Marvel plot point that's really dumb, or like a detail that you're like, well, that's fucking stupid.
Oh, I'm sure
Okay,
there are
I have
plenty.
one, but if you have one, we
Okay,
can do
go for it.
that.
I can't think of one.
So in Captain America Civil War, spoilers, the scene at the end with Captain America and Bucky fighting Iron Man, right?
Hmm.
And then Bucky gets his arm shot off, laying on the ground. He's having a bit of a cry. He's sad because he lost his
Yeah.
arm, his robot arm, I should say. And Iron Man is walking up to go kill Cap, right?
Hmm.
There's a scene, and I never noticed this until recently, where Iron Man is walking up to Cap, and then Bucky reaches out and grabs Iron Man's leg, and then
Hmm.
Iron Man fully turns around and then kicks him. And in that moment, when Iron Man turns around, Captain America can get the jump on him.
Hmm.
That's a really dumb moment.
Because why did he turn around to kick him?
Like, yeah, you're an Iron Man. You don't have to turn, you can just fucking walk through that.
You can just
Like,
kick backwards.
yeah, or just like you don't have to even acknowledge him grabbing you.
Hmm.
And look up this scene afterwards because it's really silly.
Oh, I can picture it in my head.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
was making a Marvel edit for this movie, and that I was trying to like the scene that I was making demanded it to be pretty serious, and so that scene was like, oh, that's weird. That's a really dumb moment, I feel, in a movie that otherwise is a lot of fun and I think is really great.
Yeah.
So I didn't think about it. And even now, I don't care, you know?
Yeah, I don't think it's ever really bothered me, even if it is
Like,
kind of a Deus Ex Machina or whatever.
yeah, like if that's dumb, it is dumb in my opinion, but that doesn't matter because the rest of the movie is good enough that I can forgive it.
Hmm.
And if you and I were back in 2016, right? We were doing this podcast and we were reviewing this movie. There might be scenes like, oh, it doesn't really quite make sense, this certain thing or that certain thing. But the movie was good, so like that's okay. It's like it doesn't hurt our enjoyment of it.
Hmm.
But like in Batman v Superman, same year, that movie wasn't fun, in my opinion, wasn't compelling. It's really fucking silly. And like in retrospect, I can enjoy how silly it is. But if we were doing the podcast back then, we would just be poking holes and like, what was that Jolly Rancher scene? Why was that in there? Like,
Yeah, that was really weird.
but if there was
And
a
like
Jolly,
the
if that
jar of
ex
piss for some reason.
yeah, the like if there was that Jolly Rancher scene in Civil War, like Zemo goes up to I don't know someone and then just shoves Jolly Rancher in his mouth, we'd be like, that was weird.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be like, oh man, that like this whole movie is shit. Like, and that's also shit. Like, what a strange thing. But if the rest of the
Hmm.
movie is great or entertaining or anything, you'd be like, well, that was a weird point, but like, it's still fun. It'd be
Hmm.
easier to laugh at it.
So
I don't
I
remember why I brought this up. Oh, that's just because
just
like
talking
all
about how
these
Rebel Moon didn't do that.
so many
Like,
things in Rebel Moon don't make any sense. They're not interesting or fun or enjoyable or silly. I mean, they're silly and if you don't take it seriously, which you shouldn't. But like when there are things like, I don't know, what's an example? How the gun that they use to aim at the village is like a hand crank wheel. Like, why this is a future universe? Like, why is
yeah,
that
you
a
have
thing
to.
that they're doing?
Does he say that? Is it a future instead of a long time ago?
I think it's in the future. I could be wrong. But
Okay.
even then, if it's this high-tech universe where they can fly around space and shit, like that's fine.
Hmm.
But like why but I don't know, like the lightsaber thing. Why don't they have handles for it? Because you could make a handle for it. Korra does that very easily.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why do they have a hand crank? I feel like
I
that's
because
barely even used nowadays.
well, I feel like they're trying to do this weird cyberpunk or like steam engine steampunk. What is it? Steampunk.
Steampunk?
Like
What's steampunk?
I don't know. It's like what's that game called? Not Far
Steampunk.
Cry, not
Subgenre of science fiction that
like
incorporates
BioShock
retro-futuristic
Infinite.
technology and aesthetics inspired by but not limited to
Yeah, like I think I said
Fallout.
cyberpunk earlier when I was talking about the bird guy's mom, but it's like steampunk. It's like BioShock Infinite.
Okay.
Really good though. I'd recommend it to people I hate who also can't.
BioShock.
No, Rebel
Rebel
Moon.
Moon.
If there was someone I knew who couldn't turn off the movie and I wanted to really get them good, because anyone will just turn it off, you
Hmm.
know?
I'm gonna start telling everyone I know to watch it and just see how many people actually do.
You should. And let me know. But
I'm
if
gonna
you
test Emma because she's very agreeable. So I think if I told her I liked it, she would watch it and tell me she likes it regardless.
oh,
So
Uh, if
maybe I'll
you
test
are
that
out
out.
there listening to this and you liked Rebel Moon, email in. Let us know why. No
Hmm.
judgment. I don't, we're not right, or I'm not right. I'm also not wrong. It's just an opinion on a movie. Like, so if you liked it, let us know. If you didn't like it, let us know. We got to wrap it up soon. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Make an argument as to why I should watch it.
I'm just gonna make you watch it if I get a chit.
I still need to use mine. I have debating about the two of them, but
Fleabag and The Good Place. Is that right?
yeah. But you didn't watch season three, so then I couldn't use it to make you watch the ending of The Good Place.
No, you could. You could just say finish it. I'll allow that if you wanted to do that.
Okay.
What's the time
Debating.
frame on this? Because I could just be like, I will, and then never get to it until I'm
Well,
like 40.
Fleabag would take you one day
Yeah, you're
if
right.
you just committed to it. The Good Place will take a little bit longer, but for you, I still think it would take like a week.
Oh, it wouldn't take long at all.
Yeah.
I've been watching this show called 12 Monkeys. We talked about this.
No,
There's a
12
Bruce
monkeys.
there's a Bruce Willis movie from I think the 80s or 90s, like 90s, doesn't matter,
Okay.
about time travel. There's like a virus that wipes out most of humanity, and then they send Bruce Willis back to stop it. And apparently the movie's amazing, and the TV show is super fucking dumb, and I love it.
At the
It's like I don't know. I'd say it's on par with like it's very network quality.
okay.
It's the Sci-Fi Channel. It's kind of like tantamount to like the Arrowverse. Like it's
Okay.
fun and dumb, and it's so silly. There are so many because the people from the future are taking it so seriously. The people in the past who, like one in particular, knows that the virus is going to happen, so they're all taking it seriously and they're trying to find and unravel the mystery of the army of the 12 monkeys. And so they'll like go up to some guy to interrogate him, like they like pit him up against a wall, and they're like, "What do you know about the army of the 12 monkeys?" And I'm like, "That's such a silly sentence." Like, I
Uh,
really like
should I
it.
watch this? Or just this
No.
be my next show?
I mean, you'd probably think it's fun, but it's not good. It's
Okay.
good. I think it's highly rated, I think. It's like a 7 point something on IMDb.
Okay.
It's got a Pyro from X-Men. He's in it.
Aaron Stanford.
Yeah, he's really good in it.
Okay. I mean, I probably won't check this out. I want to watch Baby Reindeer after I finish
I
Castle
keep saying
Rock.
that. What is that?
I don't know that many specifics. I know Emma watched it and she liked it a lot. And she said it's like 7 episodes and they're 30 minutes. So it'd be a really quick watch.
Wow. You can watch 7 at once, finish in 30 minutes. Get
True. That's
seven
parallel
screens.
processing for you. Fun
Yeah,
fact. There you
seven
go. You learned something
screens
today.
for 7 memes. It's the sequel to Seven Brides for Seven Brothers or whatever. Oh well, I don't know. I like 12 Monkeys. It's really dumb. It's like my comfort show now. It's the new Suits for me.
Suits. So you're gonna watch it like 10 times.
I only watch Suits twice. I'm gonna watch it once a year. I'm gonna hold myself to that. No more, no less.
That I feel like that's reasonable.
Yeah, it's like you watching How I Met Your Mother every 4 days. Oh, I started both Earth's Mightiest Heroes
And
and
Assemble.
Avengers Assembled. Yeah.
Which one do you like better so far? I feel like
They're
Assemble
both pretty shit. But like for a kid show, they're really good. If I watched this as a kid, I'd like it a lot. Which one? Avengers Assembled
has the
is
Hulk as the wizard versus the wizard.
oh yes.
Yeah.
It's really silly. It's like the dialogue's not very good, but also it's a kid show. It's fun. I take back when I said they were shit. All I watched like 15 episodes of that one and then like three of the other. I would just watch the Kang Dynasty story
Mhm.
arc. But yeah, I like that scene where they all or that episode in Avengers Assembled where they all turn into Hulks and they just really want pizza bagels. Like
No,
they just want it's fun. It's a
these feel
fun
like
show.
this might not be this direct comparison, but it's kind of like Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go, where one's much more
Yeah,
serious,
that's
and that's
fair.
Earth's Mightiest Hero, and the other's
Yeah.
funny and entertaining, but like not the same like quality of storylines and that kind of stuff. And that's Assemble, but Assemble's not as goofy. Like it still has like I like the characters. I feel like it has a lot of characters. You get the Beyonder stuff later on. Like it's
Oh,
really
cool.
cool.
Maybe I'll just cut to there. I'm just gonna do storylines for that one because the Avengers Assemble doesn't seem to have storylines really. It's just like not over like arcs. They don't have arcs.
Well, there's the Cabal in the first
Okay, yeah, they
season.
have a running thread, but like they
Yeah.
don't have like, oh, this is a 3 episode arc of the Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars. They might, I don't know. I've only
Yeah.
watched 15 episodes, but it's really, really silly.
Yeah, they do later on. But I didn't like Earth's Mightiest Heroes as much, and then I rewatched it, and it was really good. Because that is like the
Yeah.
scrolls and stuff, and that was
I
nice.
think I prefer the animation style of Assembled too. I don't
I
like
do
the
like Assemble's
animations.
animation.
The other one's weird. Cap is huge.
He's a huge boy.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Sorry that you had to listen to me talk about Rebel Moon for an hour and a half, but
That's
that's
what they came
okay.
here for.
Yeah. I feel like I really dominated this episode. So next week you have to drive.
Oh God. Okay.
No,
I'll
I'm
tell you the
kidding.
entire zombie storyline.
Oh, we could do that one of these days. But check us out on YouTube. I'm uploading the podcast there now. If you it's gonna be annoying for a bit when they upload the backlog, but that's fine. Find us on YouTube at Not Ran. TikTok, not Rant's TikTok, Reddit, not Rant's Reddit. I'm banned from Tumblr still, so don't go looking. But yeah. Good morning. Now do your catchphrase.
I'm offended by how early it still is.
Perfect. All right, goodbye, pals. Oh, wait. What are we? Are you a Rhys fan or a Rand fan?
Oh
Gosh,
yeah, I didn't come up with a good one for you.
that's okay. Me neither. All right, goodbye.